Hello everybody, it's Alan here, aka Cheetah, and today I bring you a tutorial on how to use the report viewer with parameters on Visual Basic. Now, first of all, what we need to do is we need to have a database. Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you already have a database if you're watching a video about report viewers. So, what we need to do is we need to display a tab over here. That is the Server Explorer. If you go on View and click on that, now let's go Server Explorer. We have data connections. We need to add a new data connection. So right click, add connection. Simple as that. And then you can go to your database. Now I've created this database for this tutorial, so I have it, so I know exactly what it is. You'd have to navigate up to wherever you saved it, and it will be there. Let's click OK, and just so I can show you, it's a very simple database. I only created one table, and this table has these fields. It's an ID, which is the primary key, as an integer. You have the name as a short text, surname as a short text, and gold as a yes or no, so a boolean. Okay, I've literally just started this project as well, so I don't have anything on it yet, but that's about to change. Let's do some stuff together. Let's first of all, I'm going to add the data set that we're going to be using. So go to here. I'm going to leave it as dataset 1. You can rename it if you'd like. Okay, now we want to populate this data set with the with the table from the database that we've created. You can choose yes or no. I'm just gonna go ahead and click yes, and this will be where we're going to create our SQL statements for the parameters, but we're not going to do it quite yet. We're going to leave it for last when we do everything at once. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another form just for the future. So it will be just a future form, and that's exactly how I'm going to call them, future form, and that's our second form. Now that's where I'm going to start to do stuff. I'm going to change the form borders to this, because that's just 2, and now we're going to add a few stuff. Let's see, we need 2 buttons, we need a checkbox, we need a combo box, there it is, and we need a text box. Okay, you might be wondering, why do we need all of that at once? The text box will be to keep track of the so you can pass a boolean parameter for the gold. The combo box will be what exactly you're going to future with, which field you're going to use as a filter, and this will be for you to input the values for the ID or the name. I'm not going to do the surname because it's the exact same thing as the name, so I'm just going to skip this, and I'm going to enter the options. So the index 0 will be ID, because that will be the first thing. Then I've got the name. I'll skip the surname as I said, and I'll go straight to gold. So that will be index 0, 1, and 2. You need to remember that for in a minute. Okay. Now I'm going to change the properties. This I'll call it OP because it's just the options. This I'm going to call it txt val for value. This I'm going to call it gold. I should really save as a combo box, so as a checkbox, sorry, so CB for checkbox and gold. And these two, we don't need to bother too much with their names right now, because we're not actually going to call them in any way, we're just going to use them. So we're just going to change the text to OK and cancel. And I need to change the text in here as well for gold, because that will be what it is. Now, over the gold, we also want to make it invisible, default, and we want to make it not enabled, so we want to disable it as default as well. Now what we're going to do is double click here, and that's our options, so our combo box. Now if our op dot selected index is equal to 2, if you remember from before, 2 is our gold, what we're going to do is we're going to switch these two around, because if we have the gold selected, then we don't need this text box. If you have anything selected, anything else selected, we won't need this checkbox. So what we're going to do is I call it txt_val dot enabled. Apparently it didn't call it like that. Let me just check the name. My memory's horrible. Oh, yeah, no, that's how I wanted to call, but that's not how I called it. txt, not tst. So what we're going to do is txt_val dot enabled is equal to false. txt_val dot visible is equal to false, and then cb gold dot enabled is equal to true, and cb gold dot visible is also equal to true. Okay. Else, so if we have anything but 2 selected, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to switch these around to true, true, false, and false. Alright. Next will be this cancel. That's nice and easy. We're going to do form1 not 21 dot show, form1 dot focus, and me dot hide. Okay, what to do next? Now let's just that's almost everything apart from the OK that I'm not going to do quite yet as well. Going to move these just to place them with better visual impact. Probably like there. This can actually go a bit further. Now let's move everything to somewhat the corner and resize these so it looks nice and neat. Okay, next, save the data set, get this out of the way so we don't get confused, and go back to form 1. Now, you might be thinking the purpose of this tutorial is to use a report viewer, and we haven't actually created one. So let's go ahead and do it. Now I'm going to dock it so it takes the size of the whole form, and we're going to design a new report which will be dataset 1, the dataset that we've created before. Next, we're going to need all these values: name, surname, and gold. Next, you can choose whichever style you prefer. I like the default one, and we've created it. Now we need to assign it. So click in here, and that's nice. Now let's go to, and there we go, we've got everything we needed from it. Now I'm going to leave it there because I want it to load everything as soon as we run the program. Now if I just run the program so you can see, we have all the data in there. So that's the data that I've created. Just, oh, didn't mean to do that. It's just fictional data, nothing real, and we only have 5 entries. Okay, now let's start fiddling a bit. Just move, really didn't mean to do that. Let's just move this to here. I like to keep things next to each other when they relate, and let's make the queries that we're going to use. Now the field data get data, it's this one, it's the default one. We'll load everything with no parameters. So it's just to select everything from the table, whichever table it is, or customers in this case, which is nice, and we're going to use it definitely, because we're going to use it as soon as the program loads. Now we're going to create our own now. Just click next both times, and we already have the same thing as the empty one, so this field. What we're going to do is we're going to create our own, where ID is equal to interrogation mark. So let's explain a few things. So the select is pretty straightforward. It's not an SQL tutorial. This is just a VB tutorial, so I'm not going to go too much in details on what it does. The interesting thing is this exclamation mark. You might be wondering. Basically, what the exclamation mark does, it explains to VB that this will be a variable, not a value. So this will be a variable which will be acquired. The value for this variable will be acquired through the parameter. So this is actually saying to VB that where ID is equal to the parameter, we're going to select those. Let's go ahead and finish it. So we have the ID one. Let's create one for each. Do where name it's equal to exclamation mark, sorry, interrogation mark, a query, and if you remember, we're skipping the surname. So where gold is equal to. Now if you're wondering, no, it's not case sensitive, I just like to keep it, plus it adds it for you anyway. So we've got all of these. Now let's go over here, and if you look at this bit is the one that the report viewer is actually filled with the data from the DataSet 1, and the function that's using is the fill, which is this first one. As you can see, this fill. What we're going to do is we're going to use fill by for ID, fill by 1 for name, and fill by 2 for gold. That's all you have to do. So let's start doing it. We're going to create a sorry, that's the wrong form 1. We're going to create a procedure, and we're going to make it public. In fact, we're going to make it public shared. It's just public wouldn't be enough. And sub, and we're going to call it get value, get filter values. Alright, now we're going to need some parameters for here. We're going to use by val. We need to say which type are you going to filter. So type as integer. Explain you why I need to in a minute. And we need by val the actual value, that will be the values to filter, so value as string. And value, it's all nice and great for 2 out of the 3 possible filters that we're making. So we're also going to make by val what was it? By val gold as boolean, because if we want to filter by the boolean field, then we need a boolean value as a parameter, and that's why we're passing this. Alright, let us do the next bit. What we're going to do is we're going to select case. In fact, before I was caught in the middle of a thought over there, that's why I pressed enter prematurely. What we're going to do before, we're going to try catch in case we don't not if we don't have a value, but if we have a wrong type of value, because we have the ID as an integer, and if the user passes a string to an integer, that would be an exception. and we don't want those things to happen. So let's use our try catch, and now we can do a select case type K0, and now it's where I'm going to explain why this is an integer. What we're going to do at least is that we're going to pass, once these OK buttons press, we're going to pass the values for the index in here, which will be the type, the value in here, which will be the value, and the checkbox, so the boolean value in here, which will be the code. It's quite simple, really. In fact, let's do it now. So this will be form1 dot get filter values. So the type will be op dot selected index as an integer. The value will be txt val dot text, which will be a string, and finally the code as a boolean will be checkbox code dot checked, which will return a boolean value. Okay, so we have this sorted. Sorry, we have these sorted. Now let's go back to here. So 0 is the ID, because that's the order we did. Now ID will be, okay, when we pass the ID, let's go back to DataSet. It's the fill by. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this because we're lazy, at least I am, and I'm simply going to add by at the end, and then it's going to give me an error, well, 2 errors actually, form1, because this is not form1. Since this is a public shared sub, me wouldn't relate to the actual class, because every class would have this code. So we have, that's the error that I was talking about, the not the me bit. That the error is because we don't pass enough parameters, because we added a parameter. So what we're going to do is simply put a comma, and it's asking for the ID, which will be the value. That is this parameter. Now let's very quickly do case 2, case 1 for the name. So that will be for, let's be lazy again, copy it. Form1, fill by 1, and case 2, there will be fill by 2. And then in case we have an exception, we're going to msgbox. There'll be exception dot toString, so we know what the error is. Almost done. Very last thing, which is quite silly that I haven't done it yet. Okay, whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to add the last thing to this form, which will be a new stripe. I do not understand what's going on with this. It should... ah, great. A new stripe. Ah, why is everything happening? There we go, that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to do file and filter. Okay. Now I'm just going to dock it, because otherwise it's really going to bug me. Dock to the center. I don't understand why isn't docking. Maybe it will eventually, I don't know. There will be filter form dot show filter form dot focus and me dot height. Let's run. cool, it is docked. So as soon as we load the program, it loads with the whole table, which is what we wanted. Now let's go to filter and let's select ID and check the ID too. Okay. Oh, apologies. I have forgotten to do two things. First of all, this. After that. And second of all, back to... where is it now? Not this one. Once we click on the OK button, we also want to go back to the form one. So is that. Let's try it again. Errors. Oh, great. That's form one. That's easy to solve. Okay, let's try it again. Hopefully it will work this time, and we can end this video because it's already pretty long. ID 2. Okay. Oh, look at that, it's working. Filter. Let's try the gold. Let's see all the entries that the gold is equal to true. That was supposed to be false unless I ticked it. True. Ah well. I don't know what's going on. But this video is pretty long, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the parameters, which is the main reason for this video. So on this note, I will let you program, and good luck on your projects, and I'll see you next time.